Can you guess the most important factor when it comes to growing a flower garden? You're probably thinking space. That's not necessarily true. You can start a beautiful flower garden in containers. Some of you are probably thinking, obviously, it's light. Plants need sunlight to grow. And that can be true for some flowers. However, here in Florida, a lot of them can handle in being part sun, and some will even thrive in full shade. I'll give you one more try. Probably thinking, obviously, it's soil. That's a very good guess. While soil plays a crucial component when it comes to gardening, flowers are a lot more forgiving when it comes to nutrition, as opposed to something like fruits and vegetables. When it comes to starting a flower garden here in Florida, temperature and timing your seed starting plays a crucial role. Since a lot of flowers are cold hardy, the best time to start your seeds is actually in the fall. So if you're ready to attract some pollinators and add a little splash of color to your garden, this video is for you, because I'm going to show you a step-by-step approach to starting a flower garden here in Florida. We're going to cover seed starting mixes, proper techniques, transplanting, and whether you want to grow snapdragons or dahlias, I'm going to show you how to do it. Also, let's get started. This is a great hobby if you are obsessive, because this is going to let you take control of another living thing, especially when your life is falling apart. The best time to start your seeds is about 6 to 8 weeks before the temperatures are suited for your varieties. So how do you know when it's the right time to start your seeds? I like to use the daily average temperatures as a guide. So right here, I'm using Orlando as an example. And as you can see, that we get into that really nice, cool temperature range around November. One thing that you do want to keep in mind is that some seeds can take up to a month to germinate. And you also want to allow them 6 to 8 weeks to mature before transplanting them. So if I start my seeds now, they're going to have about 2 weeks to germinate and 6 weeks to mature. Before starting my seeds, I like to sanitize all of my equipment and tools. So right here I have a solution of bleach and water, and I'm using it to sanitize my nursery pots as well as the bucket where I will be making my seed starting mix. So now that everything is sanitized, we're going to rinse these off and leave them to dry. And next I'm going to show you how to make a seed starting mix. We're going to move to the shade because it's getting a little too hot in the sun. If you don't feel comfortable using bleach, you can also just use soap and water. Now, I know that some of you are probably thinking this seems a little bit too obsessive. This is a method for starting very precious seeds. This is a black-eyed Susan cherry brandy. You can see they are very pretty, very red, very bright in color. You get 15 seeds, and they literally count every single tiny seed that you get in the packet. I cannot afford to lose a single seed to any diseases. So this is just a precautionary measure. So you can see there are some zinnia and sunflower sprouts over here. With zinnias and sunflowers, you do want to plant them directly as they do not transplant well. To make our seed starting mix, we're going to use equal parts perlite, vermiculite. I found out that my vermiculite had ants growing in it, so that's going to be a problem. That's why I'm going to be using boiling water to rehydrate everything. Then I'm also using cocoa coir or Burpee organic seed starting mix. And you can see the cocoa coir starting to expand. And now last but not least, I'm going to add a couple handfuls of earthworm castings to give the newly sprouted seeds a little bit of that nutrition. Think of it as like baby formula. You want your seed starting mix to be moist, but not overly soggy. So I'm gonna give it a squeeze and put it back in my bucket. You know, it's evening in Florida because the cicadas are singing and the lawnmowers are roaring. So I'll be starting dahlias. This is my first year growing dahlias. These are dahlia seeds from Southern Seeds. This packet comes with 25 seeds. Now, I've been succession planting these for the last month, so we only have 4 out of the 25 left. And one thing that I learned with the dahlia seeds is you just want to press them into the top of the soil and be careful not to pick them up as you are pressing them in. Another seed that we'll be starting today is cosmos. Cosmos are extremely easy to grow here in Florida. They can tolerate a little bit of that heat, not so much the humidity. So that's why we'll be starting them in pots and transplanting them as the temperatures cool off a little bit. What I love about cosmos is they come in multiple colors. There's this beautiful peachy apricotta, a dark crimson rubenza, candy stripes, which are just absolutely gorgeous, seashells, and of course, sensational mixed blend of soft pinks, whites, and magenta. These will definitely add a little bit of whimsy to the garden and some much necessary pollen for the pollinators. These I'm very excited about. This is echinacea. Now, echinacea most commonly comes in a purple variety. However, this is a special cultivar, the Paradiso Dwarf Blend. It comes in many colors. We have peach, bright orange, yellow, white, and of course purple. But what makes these special is that they are a compact dwarf variety, which is perfect for growing in containers. Whenever you open up your seed packets and you see a packet within a packet, you know you've got something special. This is a special treat for the pollinators. We have milkweed. Now, the most common variety you'll find in big box stores and online is Mexican milkweed or tropical milkweed. We don't want to grow that one. That one is bad for pollinators. So today I am starting some native varieties. Now this is swamp milkweed. Now you might be wondering, if they're native, why won't I just spread the seeds on the ground? And the main reason is the heavy rains have a tendency to wash the seeds away. Now, as a special treat, I also got tweedia. Tweedia is a type of milkweed that also doubles as a cut flower. And what really makes it special are the sky blue blooms. And once again, we have a packet within a packet. So you know, we got to take really good care of these. So this tweedia is from Botanical Interests. And what I really like about their seeds is, if you're a beginner, these packets come with so much information. So we can peel this one apart and look at this. It tells you everything you need to know. It attracts pollinators, grow native plants, and then your average last day of frost. So I really like their seeds. Plus, they also have a lot of really rare and unusual varieties. When planting milkweed tweedia, the seeds actually need light to germinate. So I'm just going to lightly press them into the cocoa coir mix. I'm using my seed starting elixir, which consists of molasses and lactic acid bacteria to help the seeds germinate. And as part of my flower garden, I will also be growing snapdragons and sweet peas. However, these like it a little bit cooler, so I'm going to hold off on starting these seeds until about mid-September to October. Now the temperatures outside are still in the 90s, and these seeds germinate best at temperatures between 70 and 75, so I bring them indoors. And to help them along, I also start each morning by singing to them. In the basement, and that's what they do. All right, check these out. So right here I have some cosmos, echinacea, beautiful dahlias, and finally we got some of those milkweed tweedias sprouting, the really rarest and most expensive one. Oh, we have one more. Look at these Beautiful milkweeds. Now these have been taking a really long time to germinate. I actually started a lot of them last month in July. They do require a lot of watering, so I have been leaving them outside here. They're still in their cups. If it rains heavily, I do put them under the umbrella, but for the most part, they are doing really great being outside. During the day, I put them out here on this table so they can get as much sun as possible and get as strong as possible before transplanting them. I don't know what happened, but the table was over here and now it's over there, and my seedlings got
all messed up.
yeah, these are my milkweeds. The whole table got turned over and they all fell out. The table was right over here and now it's over here. It's like something dragged it. Those are my milkweed seedlings that were on that little table. Hello? Do you know what happened? Look, right there. Do you know what happened? No.
You okay? He looks freaked out too.
Yeah, they all look freaked out. What did you guys do here? Are you drunk? Did you have a bar fight? Like, what's happened? What happened? Okay, I think we found the culprit. How can we get this? That's the pig. I think you have to go sideways. Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, like right there.
Right there, so you can see. I think those are pig tracks. Maybe deer. Yup. What you got here is a wild hog. Florida ma'am, everybody. You know what I call him? Dinner. A few weeks have passed. Oh, the damn pigs have been digging up this whole yard. Now, a few weeks have passed and our seedlings are finally ready to be transplanted into our prepared flower beds. The good thing about growing flowers and herbs is that they don't require a lot of nutrients, and they're perfect for rotating your crops and planting after fruits and vegetables to help soak up some of those leftover nutrients in the soil. Wow. That is some really nice soil. Last season we used this spot to grow tomatoes, and this soil has been amended with lots and lots of homemade compost. Let's get to it. Now this spot is perfect for annuals and perennials that thrive in part sun. And this is the golden zone for planting in Florida, because right here we are, oh, looks like it's about to rain, which is perfect because once we get the plants in here, they'll be blessed by those heavenly rains. How wonderful. Now, where was I? Yes. So this spot is blessed with morning sun and shade in the afternoon during the hottest part of the day. And now I'm just going to place my seedlings in here. I have some purple echinacea in here, and now I'm going to add the Paradiso dwarf echinaceas in the front to give it that nice burst of color. And now I'm just going to mulch the base of the seedling to help retain some of that moisture. Let's take a look and see how our seedlings are doing. It looks like at some point someone came through here and rooted through this whole garden bed, dug up all of my seedlings, and not only that, they left a trophy. What kind of monster would do such a thing? This means war. The hamster is in the cage. What do you call this? Sausage and peppers. Pat Wild here, certified Florida ma'am, and today I'm going to show you how to start a flower garden in Florida. First thing you're going to need is some dirt. Then you're going to need some seed, and as much seed as you have, you're just going to spread it. Spread that seed far and wide. Let God sort them out. You can also do a little rain dance. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was as fun to watch for you as it was to make for me. If you are wondering when is the best time to start your seeds, make sure to check out my interactive garden guide at foreverfoodforest.com. It's free until September 12th. And if you want to see this garden in bloom, make sure you are subscribed, as I will be posting a follow-up video in 6 to 9 months. So until next time, bye-bye.